Classic Hollywood you've never seen. Raw, reckless, and out of control. From secret affairs and addictions to scandals that nearly destroyed the industry, these 15 actors weren't just famous. They were dangerous. They shattered every rule, broke hearts, and sometimes the law. Some survived, others burned out fast. But all of them left behind stories too wild to forget. So, brace yourself, because by the time you finish this list, the golden age of Hollywood will never look the same again. Old Hollywood stars were famous not just for their talent, but also for their out-of-control behavior. Do you know any of these actors that you think were dangerous? If you've heard stories about these stars, leave a 1. If not, leave a 0. Enjoy the video and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support and share with your friends if you found it interesting. Errol Flynn wasn't just a movie star, he was a blazing inferno in human form. With his swashbuckling good looks, debonair British accent, and devil-may-care attitude, Flynn became the epitome of the Hollywood hero. However, the real man was something far more dangerous than the pirates he portrayed on screen. In the 1940s, Flynn's off-screen antics became bigger news than his movies. In 1942, Flynn was charged with statutory rape of 2 teenage girls. He was eventually acquitted, but his image was significantly damaged. Later stories revealed peepholes and hidden mirrors in Flynn's mansion, supposedly designed for him to observe his guests in private moments. "I like my whiskey old and my women young," Flynn famously quipped. And that pretty much said it all. Flynn was also rumored to be involved in drug smuggling and even espionage. Some believe he had ties to Nazi spies during the war, though no evidence has been proven. Still, like any fire, where there's smoke, Flynn was always around. By age 50, Flynn's health had deteriorated after years of alcohol abuse and scandal. He died shrouded in mystery, his life both a legend and a cautionary tale. Charlie Chaplin, the king of silent comedy, built an empire with his iconic mustache and ability to make audiences laugh and cry. Yet behind his illustrious career was a man with a deeply controversial personal life. Chaplin had a troubling pattern of pursuing teenage girls. At 35, he married Lita Grey, who was just 16, and the marriage quickly turned nightmarish. Grey later accused Chaplin of being emotionally abusive and ruthlessly controlling. Things worsened when actress Joan Barry sued Chaplin, claiming he was the father of her unborn child. The media pounced on the scandal, yet Chaplin's career wasn't just defined by romantic controversies. Politics also fueled his turbulent life. During the Red Scare, he was accused of being a communist sympathizer, drawing the U.S. government's ire. In 1952, while traveling abroad, he was barred from returning to the U.S. Despite his long ties to Hollywood, Chaplin never officially became a U.S. citizen. "I am still just one thing, and one thing only, a clown," Chaplin once said. But the truth was far more complex. While the world saw him as a clown, his private behavior revealed a story filled with tragedy and confrontations with life's darker sides. As dangerous as Chaplin's secrets were, the next man in our story was no less chaotic. Robert Mitchum was one of a kind, effortlessly cool, brooding, and unapologetically authentic. He didn't just act like a rebel, he lived as one. In 1948, Mitchum was arrested at a Hollywood party for smoking marijuana, an act that could end a career overnight. Yet Mitchum didn't flinch. "It's like getting busted for holding a beer," he shrugged. He served jail time, but instead of sinking him, the scandal turned him into a legend. Hollywood quickly realized Mitchum's danger only made him more magnetic to the public. But that wasn't the only trouble Mitchum stirred up. Mitchum was notorious for drunken bar fights, on-set brawls, and clashing with directors. He despised following rules, but audiences loved him for that very rebellion. "The only difference between me and my characters is I don't shoot people," Mitchum once said. That quip might just sum up his tumultuous career. Mitchum was a star who embraced chaos and let it run wild. Yet, for all his recklessness, he maintained a degree of control over his life. The same cannot be said for the next man on our list. Marlon Brando wasn't just an actor, he was an earthquake in the film industry. When he hit the screen as Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire, Hollywood changed forever. But his immense talent came with a tempest of chaos in his personal life. Brando was intense, unpredictable, and emotionally volatile. He had dozens of relationships with women and men, wrecked multiple marriages, and once said, "I'm not sure I'm human." Behind the fame was a man who couldn't escape tragedy. Brando's tragedies weren't confined to his personal life. His son Christian shot and killed his sister's boyfriend. Years later, his daughter Cheyenne took her own life. These family tragedies were just part of the turbulent journey of a man Hollywood could never fully comprehend. Marlon Brando was a genius undone by himself. He defied studios, scorned Hollywood's rules, and famously rejected his Oscar for The Godfather. His political views were sharp, but his eccentric nature made others wary. Co-stars called him both brilliant and unhinged, capable of warmth one moment and icy detachment the next. Living like a warrior battling his inner demons, Brando infused profound pain into every role, crafting immortal performances. But his intense brilliance couldn't hide the shadows behind him, secrets Hollywood tried to bury, paving the way for the story of another king. Clark Gable was Hollywood's golden icon, a man who captivated women and inspired men. With his dashing looks and charming smile, he was the perfect leading man on screen. But behind the spotlight, Gable hid a dark truth. Loretta Young, his co-star in Call of the Wild, revealed a horrifying secret. Gable assaulted her, resulting in an unwanted pregnancy. In 1930s Hollywood, a scandal like that could ruin both stars. The studio swiftly covered it up, whisking Young away from the spotlight to secretly give birth, then staging an adoption charade. Gable, the notorious womanizer, continued to charm countless hearts, including those of married women. MGM fiercely protected him, as one PR staffer put it, "as long as the press is happy and the cops stay out." To the public, he was the proud Rhett Butler. In the shadows, he left wounds that could never heal. Spencer Tracy had the face of a classic gentleman with a talent that outshone all else. On screen, he was calm and dignified, but off-screen, Tracy was a bundle of contradictions. A devout Catholic, he refused to divorce his wife despite a secret 2-decade romance with Katharine Hepburn. To the public, they were just friends. Behind closed doors, they were soulmates. Yet, their happiness was overshadowed by Tracy's darkness. He was an irredeemable alcoholic. When his addiction surged, Tracy would vanish, drowning in booze for days, only to return to the set as if nothing happened. Friends and colleagues grew used to his disappearances, but no one, not even Hepburn, could tame the demon within him. When he died in 1967, just 2 weeks after his final film, Tracy left a haunting confession. "The devil inside me never left." His tragedy set the stage for another tale of a royal star's collapse. John Barrymore was born to shine. A scion of the illustrious Barrymore acting dynasty, he possessed innate talent, a mythic booming voice, and the aura of a stage king. In the 1920s and 1930s, he was hailed as the greatest living actor. But stardom couldn't fill the void in his soul. Only alcohol could. Barrymore's descent was a heartbreaking tragedy. Once an icon of glamour, sparkling cocktails, all-night parties, and sharp-witted banter, he was undone by alcohol. It turned him into a shadow of himself. He forgot lines, skipped rehearsals, and showed up on set drunk, or not at all. From a flawless Hamlet, he became a laughingstock, mumbling through cheap comedic roles just to scrape by. Friends tried to save him, but Barrymore often vanished for weeks, wandering in poverty, disheveled among strangers. His home became a chaotic vortex. A producer once bitterly remarked, "John's the only man who drank away both his fortune and his fame." Beyond addiction, his behavior grew erratic. Crude pranks, brazen flirting, and openly insulting Hollywood moguls. In the end, Barrymore lost everything: his wealth, career, and self-respect. He died in 1942 at 60, a once great statue shattered by the world. But if Barrymore was Hollywood's first fall, the next story was a scandal seismic enough to shake the entire film industry. Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle was the king of silent film, a giant with a smile that won the world's heart. Funny, vibrant, and Charlie Chaplin's close friend, he embodied joy. But in 1921, everything crumbled in one fateful San Francisco night. Arbuckle was accused of raping and causing the death of actress Virginia Rappe after a lavish party. The press branded him a monster, headlines screaming outrage. Churches called for boycotts, and Hollywood reeled in panic. Dragged through 3 trials, Arbuckle was acquitted with the jury's apology that there was no evidence whatsoever, but the public had already sealed his fate. Studios cut ties, his films were banned, and Arbuckle became a symbol of Hollywood's depravity. Blacklisted, Arbuckle scraped by under a pseudonym, directing cheap films and taking bit roles, but the scandal's shadow clung to him like a curse. In 1933, just hours after signing a new film contract, his first glimmer of hope in over a decade, he died of a heart attack. His death was not just a personal tragedy, but marked the birth of the Hays Code, Hollywood's first moral guideline, proving fame could vanish overnight. So we've explored the dramatic story of Fatty Arbuckle, a man who once shook Hollywood to its core. What do you think about the events surrounding his life and career? Has anyone here heard of this story before? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for more captivating stories. George Reeves was America's first Superman, an invincible hero on the small screen. Tall, charming, and upright, he was the ideal icon of the 1950s. But off-screen, Reeves's life was a string of tragedies. In 1959, he was found dead in his bedroom with a bullet in his head. Police quickly ruled it a suicide, but the mystery haunted Hollywood for decades. Reeves was entangled in a dangerous affair with Toni Mannix, the wife of an MGM executive tied to the mafia. After trying to leave her for a younger woman, his life spiraled. Friends said Reeves felt stalked, threatened, and even wanted to quit showbiz. Some believed he'd uncovered a dangerous secret. That fateful night, Reeves was upstairs alone while guests downstairs heard a gunshot. Reeves's death left countless unanswered questions. Was it suicide, revenge, or a staged conspiracy? Superman may be immortal on screen, but George Reeves, the flesh and blood man, fell amid Hollywood's whispers and shadows. Rock Hudson was Hollywood's golden boy, tall, handsome, with eyes that melted audiences' hearts. He was the perfect romantic star, lighting up the silver screen in love stories. But behind the glamour lay a painful lie. As a gay man in an era when the truth could ruin a career, Hudson was forced to play another role off-screen, America's ideal man. The studios built a meticulous facade, arranging a sham marriage with his secretary to quash rumors, forcing Hudson to live in a glass cage. "I just wanted to be loved for who I am," he once confided, "but I had to pretend to be someone else." In 1985, the truth erupted in the most brutal way. Hudson revealed he had AIDS, becoming one of the first celebrities to disclose the disease. Hudson's illness shocked the world, shattering his ideal American man image and forcing society to confront the AIDS crisis. Some fans turned away, but many admired his courage. When he died that same year, his final honesty became his most powerful role, transforming how the media addressed illness, sexuality, and Hollywood secrets. Tab Hunter was the 1950s American dream. Golden hair, radiant smile, and charm that captivated audiences. He was a poster boy for youth and allure. But behind that perfect image, Hunter lived a daily lie. As a gay man in a ruthless Hollywood where the truth meant ruin, he was tightly controlled by studios to conceal his true self. The studio crafted a flawless facade, staged dates, articles praising the ideal guy. Hunter was trapped in the role Hollywood scripted, unable to live authentically, even in the shadows. Every day was a battle to keep his secret, every glance a fear of exposure. His story is a testament to fame's cost, a glittering but frigid cage. But Hunter didn't break. In the 2000s, he revealed the truth in his memoir, stunning and moving fans. A critic wrote, "Tab Hunter wasn't just a pretty face. He was Hollywood's prisoner, and somehow he found a way out." Tony Curtis embodied the Hollywood dream, dashing looks, lethal charm, and talent that carried him from Some Like It Hot to Spartacus. But that glamour hid a steep cost. Curtis was obsessed with fame and an insatiable thirst for pleasure. He boasted of sleeping with hundreds of women, including Marilyn Monroe, but his desires didn't end there. In the 70s, Curtis plunged into drugs, sinking deep into cocaine and heroin. "If you remember the 70s, you weren't really there," he once quipped bitterly. His behavior grew erratic, clashing with directors, feuding with producers, and burning through 6 marriages like cigarette stubs. He had 6 children, but some, including Jamie Lee Curtis, publicly spoke of his absence as a father. One daughter was even cut from his will, leaving wounds that never healed. Yet, even at rock bottom, Curtis retained his irresistible charm. In interviews, he mocked his own downfall, admitting he'd turned his life into a circus with no one at the reins. Curtis was proof of fame's dark side, a man chasing the light only to be swallowed by the shadows. Mickey Rooney wasn't just a child star, he was an era's icon. In the 1930s and 40s, his Andy Hardy role dominated the box office, raking in millions before he was old enough to drink. At one point, Rooney was America's highest-paid actor. But that stardom was also a lifelong shackle. His life became a whirlwind of 8 failed marriages, including one to Ava Gardner, and relentless scandals and missteps. Rooney's relationships often ended in jealousy and tabloid headlines. He gambled his fortune in casinos, owed money to unforgiving creditors, and trusted the wrong people, even those closest to him. In old age, he bitterly accused his stepson of abuse and embezzlement. On set, Rooney was a volatile force, fiery, stubborn, sometimes brilliantly sharp, other times lost in booze and parties. "I never had a childhood, only a career," he once said, words etched into his fate. Even at 90, Rooney chased the spotlight, as if stopping meant facing the void of a life drained by Hollywood. He was living proof that early fame can be a gift and a lifelong trap. James Dean needed just 3 films, East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant, to become a legend. With brooding eyes, rebellious energy, and a restless soul, he embodied lost youth. But behind the icon was a young man who lived too fast, too dangerously. Dean carried a flame both magnetic and destructive, impossible to tame. He hurled himself into life like a breakless race, fleeting romances, endless party nights, and a passion for speed in his race cars. On set, Dean was a mercurial genius, leaving directors both awestruck and exasperated. But his life was as brief as a lightning flash. In 1955, at 24, he died in a horrific car crash, leaving the world stunned and an immortal legacy. James Dean lived fast, loved fiercely, and left before anyone was ready. He was a blazing flame, burning brightly before snuffing out, leaving a lingering question. Could Hollywood have saved him, or did it drive him into the darkness? Warren Beatty wasn't just a star. He was a hurricane, sweeping up everything in his path. Handsome and dangerously charismatic, he had Hollywood begging at his feet. Rumored to have slept with thousands of women, some claim up to 12,000, from co-stars and models to politicians' wives, Beatty was more than a playboy. On set, he was an absolute control freak. Scripts bent to his will, scenes met his exacting standards, or he'd halt the entire project. His relationships were as fleeting as gusts of wind, except for his surprisingly enduring marriage to Annette Bening in the 90s. No one was more seductive than him, an actress once said, or more dangerous. Beatty understood Hollywood's power and wielded it to craft his legend, sometimes for art, sometimes for ego. Unlike other stars, he didn't crash or burn. He mastered the chaos, always the center of attention, an untamed king in Hollywood's kingdom. So we've explored the 20 most dangerous old Hollywood stars who shocked the world with their out-of-control behavior. What do you think about these stories? Was there anyone on the list that surprised you? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more exciting videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.